What's up, guys? What's up, New England and beyond? The Special Room podcast tonight. We're doing the Summer 2022 Amateur Rankings with my two homeboys here, Travis Lazar and Lars Borson, man. What's up, my men, my friends?
What's going on, brother?
Travis, what's going on? Where are you? Where you outside? You outside, inside?
I'm at my mom's house.
That's right. Lars, where are you? Living room, bedroom? Where are you hanging out tonight?
I'm in my daughter's bedroom, the only place I can get some peace and quiet right now.
Excellent, my guys. Well, as we all know, we kind of talked about tonight and tomorrow night. Tonight is the amateur rankings. Tomorrow night at 8 p.m. is the pro rankings. But tonight is all about the amateur fellas. It's been a while since I had you on the show. And it's been a while since we had a rankings done. So, Lars, before we start with this these rankings, tell us, what went on with these rankings, and how long it's been since the last ones we done.
We did the last ones we did were year-end 2021, so it's been about 6 months. So this is good timing, middle of the year rankings. We got a lot of time and effort into these. We just kept it. We didn't put out a fan vote or a promotional vote this time. It's just too much work trying to chase people down and compile everything. A lot of times the rankings came out exactly how we would think they would anyway. So we just kind of put our heads together this year this time around. And I think there's some interesting stuff on here, but I think they're pretty damn accurate, and hopefully it'll create some discussion and maybe some future matchups that promotions can pinpoint. But I like doing this stuff. It's just, we've been working on this for a month, Travis, maybe longer.
Yeah.
So it's
we started it the last time we were on Steve's podcast. So we started it that day, really.
Yeah. So it's been a while, but it's good. It's good to kind of give these guys some shine who are on these banners, and hopefully it creates some discussion in the community as well.
By the way, nice hat there, Lars. I'm still waiting for mine to make its way to my mailbox. I guess I'll order one on my own, but that's a fabulous looking hat.
I'll put the order in. I owe Maddie C one as well. So.
Really? Oh, excellent. Maddie C shouting out to us on our Instagram page.
Yeah,
today.
Maddie C wants the three of us on his show.
He wants a threesome with
he wants a quad. He wants a four-way.
Quad MMA.
Look at this. I told him
MMA.
my cat's gonna make an appearance. That was his hair. He's off the team.
So, guys, we're going to try to keep it down to an hour, so we're going to have to speed through a couple of these. Even though we say that now, we kind of never do because we get talking about them. But we're going to go from the heavyweights down to the flyweights. We'll throw in the females at the end there. As far as the amateur female, it's mostly that's going to be a pound for pound list right there. So with that said, we're going to go with the heavyweights right now. So I'm going to flash that on my other screen here. And I don't know, you'll be able to see it, but you guys are on a kind of a delay here. So
I've got mine pulled up on my phone, so I should be
excellent.
prepared.
So I got the cover. I want to say, Lars, great fucking posters, by the way. They came out excellent. Yeah, of course I like them. They came out fucking great.
I threw in the ballots, and if they went up or down the ranking, I think it looks like.
Excellent, my man. All right, well, let's go through the first ones, man. The amateur heavyweights, bro. So here we go. From top to bottom. What's going on over there?
We got
who's that?
We got our heavyweight. We got our heavyweight king right now in the amateur ranks in New England. Without a doubt, Hassan Graham. He is the Cage Titans reigning defending heavyweight champion. So he has beat a couple guys on this list already, so he's well deserving of the top spot. Look out for the bounty hunter going forward. He's going to have some big things to do. Then we got the former champion of Cage Titans. He is also a champion in Vermont, Jeff Sovlian. He is out of South Shore Sport Fighting, tough dude. Really the best fight that Graham's seen yet. Then we got Deshawn White, who just had a huge debut against Donovan Lozada, who's further down here on the list. So we got some tough competition at like the 2 through 5 or 6 area right there, but there's an undisputed king in New England, and it is Hassan the Bounty Hunter Graham.
Excellent. Dispatching his recent victim in Jack Burke with Kessa. I don't even know what submission that was on it, but it was something that just was too intense to take, and
it was a collar choke of sorts. Yeah, and Jack still ends up at number 8 on our list in this one here. He's a tough dude. He's done some training out of Jackson and Wink. Has a big win in NEF, so he's still on the list.
And Max Lombardo did fight Hassan Graham. I think it was Hassan's first amateur fight, first or second amateur fight.
Yeah, it was his first or second amateur fight. Another guy, Max Lombardo, is a tough dude. He basically will line up with anyone, and we've seen that so far in his career. He's 2-3, but he always comes out to fight, always shows up. He's a little bit older, so if he deserves to be on there, man. He's just taking on some of the younger guys, and it's hard to say in not such a stacked division, but maybe he's kind of the gatekeeper of the New England heavyweight division, if you will.
Excellent. He's got a fight coming up. I'm not sure where it is, but I did see his name somewhere about a fight coming up within a month or so. Before we move on, Lars, anything you want to say about this division? I want to say one thing at the end, maybe about a future matchup, but anything you want to say, Lars?
No, I think this one's pretty cut and dried. Hassan Graham deserves to be at the top. He's looked impressive in his 4 first fights. There's really no question. He's beaten number 2. He's beaten number 7. He's beaten number 8. Another guy to keep your eye on here is number 4, Nayu Shar. He's only fought one time, but I believe it was at Combat Zone. He fought Bruce Pacey maybe, and it was a vicious knockout. He looked really impressive, but right now Hassan Graham seems to be of the mold where he has potential to get to the next level, if he continues to progress the way he is. He's big, he's athletic, he's powerful. He showed some of his grappling game against Jack Burke, and he's a scary dude. And, I know what matchups you're going to be calling out here. I think there was something in the Cage Titans cage, right, Steve?
Yeah, it was Deshawn White out of Triforce. And it's interesting because he's only got one amateur fight, which was, a couple of weeks ago or so, 3 weeks. But he's already in that talk about a heavyweight title fight. And it's not only because of, what he showed that night, but the division is thin. I mean, as you can see, we got 1-1s as from the 8 on through 10. So it's hard to, people got to come into account. It's hard to get a lot of these divisions and work a 1 through 10. And when you have guys that make an outstanding performance like that, 1-0. It doesn't matter. You're so thin here, man. Let's make it happen. Let's get a fight going if that's what the fans want.
Yeah, he looks super impressive in his pro debut. His AME debut against Lazarda. He just kind of ran right through him. So I definitely think Deshawn White is a prospect to look at here. It makes sense. And it's one of these divisions where you're heavyweights. You got 2 guys going into the cage that amass over 500 pounds of energy. Somebody's going to be the hammer. Somebody's going to be the nail. And that's why you see some of these close to 500 records creeping up the rankings. But then there's that man at the top with the 0 at the end of his record that's got that belt. So.
Excellent. Well, interesting. A lot of big fists will fly in the future. Maybe at Cage Titans on August 27th. We don't know yet. There's a lot of stuff going on there. All right, so let's move on to the light heavyweights. Let me go retrieve that, put our little poster back up there, and let me go find that sucker. It's easy to find because there's no one there. All right, so there. Okay, so light heavies, here we go. I have to play ignorance here. I don't know half these I don't know much of these guys here except for George Pessimistis in ranked number 5. I've seen him fight a couple of times for NEF, I do believe.
Yeah, it's a pretty
this is a tough one to put. Tough one to put together here.
It was there weren't many options, so this is what we're left with. But the only commentary I have here, because honestly, I've seen Pessimistis. That's a hard name to say.
Yeah, it's like Mississippi.
A few times. Same with David McCarthy, and I saw Seth Godfrey's recent debut, and he beat David McCarty in like 19 seconds. It was scary. It was that the fight I'm thinking of?
No, he actually fought number 5. He knocked out number 5. Godfrey.
Okay, right. But he looked scary doing it, right.
Yeah, he looked scary doing it. And I believe, shout out to another podcaster in the area, I believe it's Pisamises is the way you pronounce his last name. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, George. I'm sorry, but it is how I think I've been corrected to say it.
Yeah, I don't want to be calling him George Piss.
It's a tough one.
George Piss, you know what I mean? I'm sorry, man. But anything we want to say much about this? I mean, like talking about thin divisions, here's one. One thing I did hear was maybe Jack Burke would be dropping down to light heavy. I could be wrong on that. Did you hear that same thing, Travis?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. He's got the build, too, because he's carrying around a little extra weight at heavyweight. You can definitely tell if he could trim down and become solid, it would be scary at light heavyweight. But then again, it's just one of those things where who do you fight? Where do we find light heavyweight? Some of these guys are probably natural middleweights that have moved up to light heavyweight because they can't find somebody at middleweight or things like that. Really tough division to pick. And it's one of the reasons we do these rankings. If you're a 205-pounder training in New England right now and looking to make your amateur debut, the whole division is up for grabs. You know, it's not just to shine on all these guys that everyone knows. This division is up for grabs. 205-pounders training in New England. Contact your local promoter. Let's get this division going.
Yeah, you don't have to be in New England to get on these rankings. You fight once in New England, and I mean, you're in them if you perform well. So let's get more people in the region, and let's get these promotions going, bringing in some talent to thicken up these divisions, man. I mean, some of them are real deep, and we're going to be getting to them very soon, but these people want to see bang. They want to see these big guys bang, so we can get more of them in there. And I'm sure, guys like the dude out of Triforce, man, making waves like that, 1-0 can get you, pretty far in the division, just putting on a great fight. So, all right, guys, well, go ahead. Last thing.
No, I was just going to say, it's one of those things, like I said, with the heavyweight division as well. There's two guys, hammer and nail, and you got a guy that makes his debut against a guy who's already got a fight and has already got a win and knocks him out. We're talking about him being the next guy in line for a title. That's how open.
Yeah, that's how, and a lot of divisions that are going like that. A knockout, a loss here and there. Some of the divisions are so thick that you could drop a couple of spots like with just one loss because people are that close in these rankings in some of these divisions here. So. All right, let's move out to middle heavy. What is it? Middleweight, correct?
Middleweight.
All right, let me go find that sucker.
Middle heavyweight.
Middle heavyweight, yeah. It's my stuttering. So
is that cruiserweight?
Well,
middle heavy?
Yeah, you imagine that they were getting a cruiserweight going and we can't even get a fucking light heavyweight.
Well, didn't I just see on the NEF card that the Ras Hilton fight against Cody Lightfoot is being fought at a weight of 250 pounds, which I've never seen. Only that, man.
I don't know what's going on. All right, so let me move that. Let's get to the middleweights, and here we go. Colin Robinson on top. He moves up one spot. I love how you did that, Lars, with who moved up and the champs and who moved down and who just got on there. Lars, if someone just got on the rankings, what would it say? No rating, right? No NR. All right, excellent. You covered it all here. So, guys, here we go. This is a pretty thick one. You got a 1-0 here, and David Burke, and you got a 1-1 guy, and Joe Peters at the end. But Brett Martin 2-0, putting on a hurting. Just had his 2 fights this year, right? Or pretty, soon back to back with Neff or something like that. A card. Skip the card, but you got some monsters on here. Let's talk about it. Colin Robinson at number 1 in a couple of spots, moved up and down.
Go for it, Lars.
Yeah, it's definitely a top heavy division. Really, from number 6 up through 1, they're all studs. Colin Robinson, he's 5-1. He just won the Cage Titans Muay Thai middleweight championship. He holds the Valor FC middleweight championship out of Tennessee. He's fought overseas against some killers. He just beat, Lamont Payne in that Muay Thai fight, and Lamont Payne had 11 Muay Thai fights, and this was Colin's first Muay Thai fight. So the kid's a stud, training out of Worcester. And I think he deserves to be there. Spencer Payne's a scary dude too, though. But Spencer Payne isn't as active. We don't see as much of him, so it's kind of tough to get a read on him. But every time he's been in the cage, he's looked, scary. And then in Judo for Ojukwu, he's the current Cage Titans middleweight champ, and it looks like there's a path to him and Colin Robinson facing off that belt in October. So that will be an awesome fight to see. But yeah, we're littered with talent here in the 185 division.
A fight that you just mentioned, Lars. It's been talked about for once it makes the cage, hopefully in October, almost a year that we've been talking about making Chudiafor and Colin, and I think that ultimately decides this division. And I think regardless of the outcome of that, we'll have a solid number one there for sure.
And with that, if that fight happens, and if that's what's next for these two guys, I would imagine the next step after that would be probably going to pro or something like that. I mean, what's left to do? I mean, for Colin Robinson, he'd be holding that title. He'd be holding the Muay Thai title. He's number 2 ranked in the Gamma World MMA, amateur MMA. Let's start getting these fucking guys paid. You know what I mean? So there's 2 prospects right there. Win or lose, either one in this title fight. They're both going to make waves out there if they continue to go that route. So guys, great division here. I mean, who's Jeff Reynolds? That dude's a scary fucking dude. That dude, any night he could beat anyone, depending on if he's at his best.
Yeah, and he's fought some of the tough guys. He's one of those guys that, like again, he's the guy that's been in there with the top of this division throughout, and he's above 500. We bumped him up another spot. We got a couple new guys in here, but Jeff Reynolds deserves to be up at the top because he's been fighting guys up at the top.
Yeah, his only 2 losses are to number 2 and number 3, to Spencer Payne and Jito for. So it's Spencer Payne, he got KO'd, and then Jito for into decision. But his most recent fight back in February, NEF, he beat David McCarty. Jeff Reynolds, he's training with a good team down there in Nashua at KTA, and you can tell the kid's got the mold to be a good fighter. So I think we're going to see Jeff Reynolds continue to go up these rankings until he turns pro.
Excellent. And if you're tuning in late, we still got a ways to go here. We've done the heavyweights, the light heavyweights, middleweights now. We want to just let you know, Cage Titans dropped their poster tonight as far as their next card. And stay tuned for a lot of matchups that we're talking about here that are going to end up, a lot of these fighters are going to be ending up on that card, a lot of these amateur fighters. So, stay tuned to them and what's going on with them. And, of course, NEF at the end of the month, a lot of these fighters on here are fighting on that. So, next time we do these rankings, there's going to be changes again. So it's great that activity has started up or has been started for a little whiles now. But, it gives us an opportunity to really, put our minds together and try to make these as legit as possible. And they're not perfect. We expect some backlash a little bit here and there. But that's why they're here, and then we'll take that into consideration the next time these rankings are made. So that's how, that's how the cookie crumbles in the, at New England MMA. So with that said, guys, move on to the welterweight, shall we?
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Is that yeah? I'm having a hard time because I can't fucking see shit. Yeah, there they are. Okay. Hopefully I don't leak a pro one here. That would suck.
All right, so I'll start at the top with the reigning defending Cage Titans amateur welterweight champion Jack Congdon. 5-0. Although he did make mention that he was probably going pro after his last fight. That hasn't been confirmed. He has no fights confirmed, so he deserves the top spot here. We got Mike Murray. Mike Murray won the NEF title. Let's see. We got Zach Faltner, who is fighting at the next NEF against Curtis Ouellette for their title. We also have Brody Mcdougall, who called out Jack Congdon at the last Cage Titans after he knocked out a debuter, and I don't remember what his name was off the top of my head. Do you guys remember?
Which one? Brody? Ben.
That Brody knocked out.
Ben.
Yes, Ben.
Bracco.
Bracco. Yes, Ben Bracco. So they made mention of possibly if Brody said if Jack doesn't turn pro, he'd like to fight him for the title. But I actually thought about earlier today that, if Jack does go pro, maybe Brody versus one of these guys on the list could make a great interim title. This could stir some things up, especially if number one turns pro. This thing can shake up in an instant.
And
one guy I do really want to mention on here is Fabio Alano. Number 7, he's a jiu-jitsu world champion 3 times over. He fought one of the guys that was on the middleweight, Lee McHugh. He was, I think, number 4 or 5 on our 5 or 6 on our middleweight rankings. So Fabio Alano was impressive at Combat FC1. He walked through some punches, traded some punches, knocked down Lee. Lee knocked him down, and then eventually got to the mat. And this kid's jiu-jitsu is absolutely insane. And I was talking to one of our other guys, Jeff Clark, earlier tonight, and he had to ask me, was this an amateur fight or a pro fight? Because these two guys looked like pros, and Alano looks ready for the big time. And I know he's been big time in jiu-jitsu competitions and things, but this is his first time with the MMA stuff, with the gloves, with my cat. And, so I'm excited about Fabio Alano.
That's a sexy kitty cat you got there.
He is, and there's no shame in his game. He'll be right around here all night.
Lars, anything you want to give your input here?
Yeah, man, I think this is one of the more intriguing rankings of the whole bunch here, this weight class. And, it's kind of crazy. With welterweight rankings, they're very fluid. Guys go pro, they get pulled out. You got debut guys who look really good. A lot of them don't have a ton of fights. It's much more difficult making these amateur rankings than it is the pro rankings. But I really like this weight class here in New England because it's got a lot of really intriguing guys who still are undefeated. So like Jack Congdon, obviously he's a stud. He's the clear-cut number 1. Mike Murray, he was fought, it seems like every weight class, but he's always held his own and done well. A couple other guys that I really have my eye on are, Brody Mcdougall, who's looked, both these guys, Brody Mcdougall and Kyle Hill, have both looked really good, both training out of Nostos MMA under Devin Powell in Somersworth, New Hampshire. Brody Mcdougall's looked like a killer his first 2 fights out there. And to Travis's point, Fabio Alano, there's a lot of hype behind him. He's training at Sitio Tong now in Boston, so hopefully he evolves his striking game because he was getting pieced up on the feet. It was a back-and-forth war, but I think Lee McHugh was getting the better of Alano on the feet. But once it got to the mat, he showed what he was all about. And then another guy to keep your eye on is Sergey Peresunco. We had a tough time figuring out where Peresunco should be ranked because he's fought once at 170, twice at 160. We think he wants to be at lightweight, but so we included him both. He probably could be ranked higher on the welterweight rankings here, but if he's undersized for the division, I think that kind of knocked him down a little bit. But the kid's a killer, and you'll see where he's at coming up on the lightweight rankings as well.
Hey, just to let you know, I finally got some chatter here. I could see on my phone, and some people are like saying this certain guy will dust Congdon and stuff like this. I don't know who it is. It could be Brett Casey in disguise on on YouTube, stalk and pray here. But Matty C's chiming in. Dan Walsh chiming in from Lausanne's there. But that's cool. People are tuning in. Most people watch this the next day. I'd like to give a shout out to Cage Titans for directing some of your traffic this way. I know your Table Titans is usually Monday night, but you were gracious enough to kind of hold back and let us have these tonight. So with that said, guys, I want to just make a point about Sergey here. I mean, to get back at trying to make these rankings, Sergey's 3-0. He's fought once at 170. That was his debut. And then his next 2 fights were at catchweight at 160. I mean, it's hard to, if he fought all 3 of his fights at 170, then, of course, we could put him higher in the welterweight rankings here, but it's a catch-22 here. You know what I mean? There's some pure 170 pounders here, but, how do you look at that, Lars, when you're trying to put names and rankings here, when guys are kind of fluctuating, stuck between a weight class?
Yeah, I mean, there's no perfect science to it. It's kind of like the eye test and track record, what's your resume look like, who you training with, do you make weight? There's a lot of factors that go into it, but for the most part, how we break it down is like, all right, if this guy fought and this guy fought, who would win? And some of them like have to bounce between a couple weight classes because, and this happens a lot in the AMEs, guys are trying to find what their fight weight should be, and they're bouncing around between a couple different weight classes, and it makes this kind of difficult. But if we can make an argument that they should be included in a certain weight class, we'll put them there. So Peresunco, technically he's never made 155, but he's made statements to fight at 155, and he's fought at 160. So fuck it, let's throw him in there.
All right, guys.
Yeah, when I spoke to Josh Belanger, he's confident that he can make 55 no problem. Josh, one of his coaches. So my thing is like Lars said, if the 2 guys got in the cage together, if 8 and 9 got in the cage together, who would win? If 7 and 8 got in the cage together, who would win? That's just what you kind of have to do. It's got to be some eye tests. You got to strength of schedule is kind of a big deal too. But yes, Sergey is a beast, and we're about to see it in the next division because ranking him in both divisions just seems necessary because he's such a beast.
Excellent. And go ahead, Lars.
And by the way, Brett Casey is in the chat.
He is the Showtime. He is the Showtime guy. Showtime guy.
Brett Casey enters the chat.
One last thing. Well, you better share this, Casey, because your name might be on one of these fucking rankings here. So you better share this shit. So one last thing I want to say here about Sergey is, I talked to Josh. Josh gave me some beans. He's looking for Sergey to have that 155-pound title shot and then move up to 170 and hit that title shot. So yes. He's looking to be double champ in 2 divisions here. It's going to be a while. When I interviewed him after, he's got some things to work on. He's in no rush. So interesting. Very, very interesting here. So anything else before we move on?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate again with the Josh Belanger thing. He said this kid's different, and now Belanger's trained with a lot of New England MMA's greatest, and to say this kid's different, the way he acts, the way he shows up at the gym, the way he puts in work, the way he walks to the cage, the way he does what he does. I'm a big fan of Peresunco.
Ari.
Yeah, well, I'll save my fluffing of him to the lightweight.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, let's drop that.
All right, so let me get to where are we going? Lightweight, right?
Yep.
I need LASIK.
Do we have an insurance plan here at New England MMA that we can hook Mr. Domenico up with some LASIK surgery?
Yeah,
I
can't even get a fucking hat. Never mind LASIK surgery. Here we go. All right.
I have to perform it though.
That's awesome. We'll do it live, Lars. All right, here we go. Lightweight amateurs. Here we go. Miguel Sevenson. Interesting about Miguel Sevenson. When we had our last rankings, I saw him making, some chatter. I'll be on the next one. He'll be on the next one. And boom, he's number 1 lightweight in New England with Peresunco right under him, guys. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, that's your fight to make right there. There's your fight.
He deserves it. I mean, he went from not being ranked 6 months ago to number 1. And when you look at this list, there's a lot of studs on here, but Sevenson has shown insane improvement over the last few fights, and he's fought some killers too. I mean, he just beat Kyle Poufal, who's a stud, who's on these rankings. Pufal's at number 5, trains out of Nostos. Sevenson, I think he's been training a little bit with Lozon, but his home gym is Lakeville MMA. Yep. So he's training alongside Jack Congdon. And I think he probably sees a lot of Connor Matthews. And so he's training with some really good guys. But, Sevenson is 3-0-1 in his last 4. And he just grabbed the belt in a bloody war with Kyle Pufal. It was awesome. So he deserves to be there.
Travis?
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. 2 and 3 kind of make sense because they just fought, but Sergey definitely got the best of Grady in that one. I don't know. There's so much to look at here.
Nosto's representing on here again with Kyle Pufal and RJ Janacek. I mean, if there's one gym that's kind of like come on the scene. I mean, they've been around for a while, but over the last, the amount of improvement in terms of the stable of fighters they have training at that gym, over the last 2 or 3 years, it's been crazy to see the products that Devin Powell's putting together. And it's a lot of guys at lightweight and welterweight. And I think, Josh Smith will be fighting on the next Cage Titans card, is what Pourier just said tonight. That guy looks really scary. I mean, he's got 10 guys under there, most of them in the AMI ranks. Who are, a lot of them have O's, behind their record. So it's shout out to Nostos and Devin Powell.
Yeah, he's gonna eat up a lot of spots on these rankings, and deservedly so. I know he's got 7 guys fighting on the NEF card in Portland. So yeah, his guys got not only are they on this list, they have an opportunity to move up these lists in short time here at NEF. So this is good. This is a great division. But it goes without saying that I have to mention number 10. Number 10 in this division happens to be a motorboating son of a bitch. Brandon Motor Boats, our fellow writer, and his 2-0 will stand on our website till the dawn of my being in another place. I don't care. No, it's just it goes without saying he's one of our guys. This list may not be as deep as we wanted it to be, but anyone wants to mess around with Mr. Boats, gonna get motored.
There you go, my man. Interesting thing here. Nuri Abraham, you remember him fighting for the title against, who did he fight? Pro now from
Kanani?
Kanani.
Yes, Noel Kanani.
And I believe Abraham. I believe Abraham was like 2 or 3 at that time, and now he's 4. Now he's drops 4 spots. I love how you did that, showing how many spots they dropped.
Yeah. Also like
if you can count, it's awesome.
I know, like colors and numbers are the best.
Yeah.
But RJ Janacek dropped 3 spots, and he hasn't fought. And I don't believe he's fought since our last rankings came out. So we did have him ranked at 3, but with Peresunco shooting up the rankings, with Pufal shooting up the rankings, with Mike Murray, it just by default, if you are stagnant and you're not fighting, guys are going to leapfrog you, and that's kind of what happened with him. But he's still a stud and got a ton of talent, so don't overlook him.
Yeah, there's a ton of matchups here that could be made. So
very deep division.
Yeah,
it's nice.
Any last words, guys, before we move on? No?
Nope.
Here we go. All right, let me get to featherweights now. What I should have done was take these out as I got done with them, but I'm not that smart.
I do want to say we're making excellent time, and that is not like
we
us.
We definitely are. We kind of started on time. And
wait until the ambulance doesn't show up or the stream goes down, and then everything's at the clock.
No, I think we're going good. I got fucking comments here and everything. It's kind of cool. Thank God for Brett Casey for coming on. All right, here we go. Featherweights. Shane Doherty, who is he gave away his title to become a pro, but he's not made his pro debut yet. and we don't know what's going on there. So, Lars, is the reason why he is number one?
Yeah, it's one of those things where he said he's going to go pro, but he doesn't have any pro fights lined up. So, I think he still deserves to be in there. Once you announce, like, you're going pro and you have a fight lined up, that's when we pull you out. But until that's happened, you're technically still an amateur. Shane Doherty, he was number one last time. He's not going anywhere. Granted, he gave up his belt when he made the announcement he's going pro, and Marcel Romero, number 2, went and grabbed it after beating number 4 Arthur Mpofu. Doherty belongs there, but he probably won't be there for long. Romero is the clear-cut number 1, in my opinion. I personally have not seen Tavon Thomas fight. I think he's fought at Reality or Ammo. So I don't know much about him, but his record and his strength of schedule looks good, so that gave him the number 3 slot.
His last fight, he beat Ant from Underdog.
Anthony Alvarado.
Yeah, from Underdog, believed KO'd him, TKO'd him, and he's beat a lot of really good fighters. I think he might have fought. Maybe I'm wrong. He's fought. If you look on his, on our. If you look up his name on our website, it shows that he fought a couple of really good studs. So he's no joke.
Yeah, we got.
And then
shout out to Dan Walsh. Dan Walsh was apparently in the comments, so he's still on the list, or he's on the list again at probably the same rank he was last time. I think that's what the 2 dots mean.
Why? What's going on? What is he saying here?
Apparently you said something about him showing up in the comments. So,
Steve,
my last. There's your spot.
My last fight was at 145. Oh, he didn't know he was going to be on, or what was he saying?
I don't know.
So we got Brett. You're coming up with. We got you at 135, but maybe you should be at 145 if you're saying your fight was at 45. Maybe we missed that.
Why? What happened?
Right.
What's going on?
Don't worry about it. You're on it.
I missed it.
Brett Casey's saying his fight was at 45.
Yeah. Oh, what'd you have him on? 155?
I got him at 35.
Oh yeah, he's a featherweight. He's a featherweight.
Well, he's
all right.
got kind of a little bit more weight. That's what I expect out of him.
All right then. We're talking future here. All right. All right. So here.
Anyway.
So he.
I don't know. I expect him to clear out like the lobby at a McDonald's after Cage Titans one night, like when we're in there. I think that's a Brett Casey statement piece.
Hey, listen, Brett Casey's already like matching his next fight. I mean, he's got to fight.
I know.
He's got to fight this Saturday.
Anyone.
So right now he's saying him against Jay Kasky.
That would be a banger.
For hopefully, I would imagine the next Cage Titans card, because that would be a month removed from. Casey's got to get the work done this Saturday, but it would be a month removed from his fight on Saturday.
Go line it up.
A little over.
Line it up.
So Mike Pourier, we just made a fight for you. Brett Casey versus Jace Kasky. What? August or October?
I think. I would say October. It has to be August, because Brett's fighting at Combat FC in October. So I got the beans everywhere here. So yeah. So that's a fight right there. Well, we're going to see how Brett does this Saturday, man. We know Jake is he's a great wrestler. He fought Dan Walsh. Even Dan did win that fight, but Jake did come back and get a victory not too long ago. That could be a little debate there. Dan Walsh and Kasky, they could switch places here. I mean, Walsh did beat him.
If we're ranking 11 featherweights here, it would go 7, 8, 9, 9, 9. Maybe Dan Walsh, Jake Kasky, and Brett Casey all tied at number 9.
Yeah, but our hands were tied. Somebody's going to drop.
And then we should have a one-on-one tournament with them. Just one fight, though. They're all in the cage at the same time, fighting each other.
Well, I'm sure. I'm
tables, ladders, chairs.
I'm sure Brett would fucking love that. I bet he would. Yeah, love that.
Tables, ladders, chairs, definitely.
All right. So anything left with this? Brandon Demora. I know he has a fight coming up. I'm not sure who it's for.
Yeah, Andy said he's training for a fight.
Okay. Randy Francis, he just had a fight for Reality. He submitted one of the Leighton twins there. So that's when the hell is that guy making pro? I mean, Jesus, 15 amateur
Hard to
fights.
say. 14, 15 amateur fights.
Hey, medicals are more stringent when you go pro. Like it's strategy.
All right, there you
And
go.
I want to go out. I want to go out and say something too. Really, if you think about it, the grand scheme of things, the pay scale on the New England level, from what I've seen, pro, you make more money in sponsorships as an amateur, almost, and selling tickets than you would going pro. So like, if you're not, your aspirations aren't the UFC or Bellator, or sometimes it just doesn't make any sense to go pro if you're still testing yourself in the waters of the amateurs, whatever. It's there's different careers out there. There's different career paths for everyone. I don't know. It's just one of those things.
Excellent. So shall we move on to the bantamweights?
We shall.
All right, let me get this up. And let me find him. Who's this yelling at me? Nobody. Oh, I found that right off the bat. Awesome. So this is the one where you have Brett Casey in there. We're gonna have to change that. Kick him the fuck out of there. He's not in the rankings this year. Fuck it.
It's gonna be short-lived, Brett.
He'll understand. He'll understand.
You got about 24 hours.
Can we have a New England BMF title between him and Kasky? That's just fitting.
Listen, if that fight happens, the chatter that is going to go on between those guys, man, is going to be epic. I got to get him on the podcast at the same time.
Brett and who?
Brett and Kasky.
Oh yeah.
I got to get them both on the podcast at the same time. That'll be fucking phenomenal.
It's a no-brainer. I mean,
write it down. Book it for Cage Titans, October. Let's go.
So here's what Brett Casey is saying. He said he made $11,000 off it. The IRS better not be listening to this. He made $11,000 off his ammo amateur debut, which
because the Caseys are royalty in Western Massachusetts. That's just how it is,
dude. Man, he'll bring.
They go out and fight. People are throwing money down in front of them.
They're having they're having riots. Riots in the audience. Riots in the audience. Holy shit. All right, guys. What are we saying here? All right, man. We got a bunch of fucking bunch of things going on here.
We got Thomas up at the top, and I believe that his win at Reality claimed him the title, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So that's why he's up there. Arthur and Pufu, he had a fight announcement against somebody we're going to be seeing in the next slide. Not going to reveal where. However, he's going to be fighting Tyler Butterknife Smythe coming up on a Cage Titans event near you. So that very well could shake up some things in not just the flyweight division, but the bantamweight division. But yeah, we got Brett Casey, 1-0. Brett Casey going to be 2-0 after this weekend. We got him at number 9. Look out, 35ers, 45ers. Anyone in his way, he's coming.
He'll fight any weight class. He don't give a fuck. But that's we got to get him the fuck out of there.
So Boats just messaged the conversation and said Tavon Thomas, who we have at number 1 here, as well as Mr. Boats, both have a common opponent and a win over Gage Luby.
No shit.
They just said Gage Luby just won by KO last week.
Get the fuck out of here.
Oh my Jesus. Oh my okay. Tapology. If you won by KO, you got to give him his record back.
Yeah, definitely.
According to Tapology, this guy has no path to victory.
Did he fight himself?
He might have done it. He might have got Brendan his win back.
He might have knocked himself out last week. What happened? You know what I mean? That's
very well. It doesn't say who his opponent was. His opponent very well could have been his other Tapology profile, and somehow one knocked the other out.
Fucking oh my god. Showtime 413. Follow Brett Casey on fucking YouTube. Kid, don't shut up. He's got the beans on him.
Back to the this year. Thomas, I don't know too much about, but he's got a killer record. Gunter was top ranked. He dropped. He lost a fight recently. His last 2 fights, I believe, he's dropped 2 in a row. So he dropped a few spots. Mpofu, who seems to, always be on these rankings. Then obviously Valdina is a stud. He's fought some really good guys. He's dropped a little bit. Mike Dormy, who wasn't ranked previously, we saw him fight at Cage Titans a few weekends ago, and he looked impressive. So really,
Dan Dubuque's guy, right?
Yeah, Dan Dubuque understudy, tough getting fights for him. He came out and showed up in a tough fight and looked really good. So he's making an appearance as well. And, so it's got a lot of question marks in this division, if you ask me. I don't know too much about some of these guys, but, I think we got him as accurate as we could.
But you mentioned Arthur Travis that will be making an appearance on August 27th.
Yeah, so he went, like we mentioned earlier, he went up and challenged Marcel Romero for the vacant featherweight title. It used to be Shane Doherty's. Now he is defending his bantamweight title against Tyler Smythe, who just won the Cage Titans flyweight title at the last event.
Well, there you go. I want that Brett Casey fucking and Kasky fight, man. With that said, are we moving on to our next to the final rankings with our flyweights?
Flyweights and then women's.
And then the women's. And then we'll talk about how difficult it is to rank that. All right, let me find this.
All right, so I'm going to kick this one off because we just mentioned him. Tyler Butterknife Smythe, he's a champ. He has to come in second, though, because Nate Russell has been the guy at the top for a while. And you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. And Tyler Smythe has done all but that. Claiming 2 titles, one for NEF and one for Cage Titans. Nate Russell turns pro, or whatever happens with Nate Russell, fights out of the region a couple times. This is Tyler's spot to grab. He's 5-0 in the New England region. His 2 losses came outside of the region, so really, if you put it together like that, he could very well be 5-0 had he only fought in New England. But he's tested himself outside the waters, which is a great thing for somebody who's a flyweight where it's hard to find matchups. And turning pro, you want to get as much competition as possible. So he's done that, gone outside the region. Really good for him. Then we got Joe Pourier, who is as good as it comes, but he's just fallen short to the top 2 guys. Like that's just what his 2 losses are to 1 and 2. But he's a beast. As his shirt said, the last fight, the world's biggest flyweight, big dude, and has all the potential in the world. He's got age on his side too. So I have no doubt saying that he will one day be atop these rankings. Tyler Smythe's also very young. They're both 24 and 25. So that could be a battle that goes on for a little while here in New England. Caleb Austin, another guy who's got a great wrestling pedigree, has done his thing. A loss sends him down a little bit in the rankings. But then the rest of it really here could be shaken up any which way, just as you would expect the flyweight division to be. 125 pounds, light guys don't always have we got a top-heavy division, and we don't always have the clear cuts, 6 through 10.
One name on there that stands out to me, Josh Medeiros. That kid is a stud. I think his only loss was to Valdina. And that was fighting out of his weight class. Because is that his natural? Is that where he wants to be? You would think a flyweight. Or was he? Guys.
Yeah. He's on the smaller side. I think flyweight's where he belongs.
Yeah.
AJ Barton. I think he fought Gunther for the Donnybrook title. I think it was for was it for the bantamweight or the fly? What title was that for?
I think it was.
Was it a title fight or what? I don't think it was a title fight. I think
it was like a weird last minute replacement, I believe. I'll tell you right here in 1 second. That was at 145.
Yeah, because I think Barton came in heavy, and it was.
Yeah, it was like last minute.
Yeah.
So obviously he couldn't make weight. But he did fight in 2020 at 125. So we included him in these rankings, assuming he would be able to make that weight again. And we need to round out. It's not too deep of a weight division here in the New England region, so we need to kind of, when you got a 1-0 guy at number 10, you got to kind of, throw some stuff in when you can. But it's I think this is interesting because those top four are well established in the region. People know who they are. And Nate Russell and Smythe, like you could argue for either one of those guys to be top ranked in the division.
Yeah.
But Nate Russell's been around a long time. He's fought a lot of killers. He, I think he's won 2 or 3. I think this last 4, he might be 3-1, something like that. But I love to see Smythe and Russell go at it. 2 very experienced, high-level amateurs who probably should be making their pro debuts in the next year or so.
Yeah.
And then Pourier, I think he's got some more evolving to do. Kid's a stud. He's got all the tools. But, when he fought Russell, he got taken down and didn't have much for his ground game. And Smythe seemed to have success on the mat with him as well. But the kid's got a ton of potential. He's training at Lozon MMA now. He's got the build to be successful at the next level. If he can round out his game, he's got a bright future ahead of him.
Tyler Smythe is definitely he's in the making to be something special here. That dude has heart of steel. Fought a Muay Thai fight out of his kind of out of it, not his thing, and he performed very well. And then he comes into hostile territory, and he submits Poirier, man, in front of that crowd. That kid's a stud. He's gonna go far. That kid is definitely. He's just got that game plan, and his heart and his gas tank is fucking phenomenal, man.
Yeah, he's gas pedal all the time. Even in his Muay Thai fight, you could see it was just straight moving forward, putting pressure on, and letting his gas tank do the work. And he's impressive. I'd like to go back and look at the 2 fights that he lost outside of the region and see where the guys are that he fought now.
I think it was a
undefeated.
I think it was a rematch. I think the first,
yeah,
I think the first one went to a decision, and the second one, I think Tyler submitted real quick. Yeah, real quick.
Okay.
And
I think I remember it being a rematch. I just don't think I've ever seen the fights. So the kid must be a stud because Tyler's clearly a stud.
Yeah, definitely. And we did speak about Tyler moving up to challenge for that bantamweight title. And I would imagine if win or lose with that fight, he'll be thinking about turning pro towards the end of the year or early 2023. I think it's time for that kid. I mean, unless he wants to defend titles and just shopping his tools even more, but that kid's a fucking stud.
I think I remember looking it up. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he's 24, and I want to say Joe Pourier was 25 when they fought, and I was thinking that Joe Pourier was vastly younger than Tyler, but just because of Tyler's record, he's shown a lot of ability and a quick schedule and the need to want to go out there and actually achieve some serious shit in New England MMA. So 2 belts, pretty impressive.
Excellent. Anything else you want to address in this weight class before we move on to the women and wrap it up?
I think we're ready for the women.
Let's go. And another difficult division to rank because there is nobody in it. So
right.
Let me see. There it is. But there are some movement. There are some couple of new ones on the rankings. So because some couple have turned pro, women that were on this. So and of course we said we would be doing the pro tomorrow. So with that said, the pound for pound best amateur women in New England right here. Ashley Barrett on top. No movement, right? That's where she was before as far as amateur.
Yep, that's where she was, and no one's come and taken it from her. So in a tough division like this, that's come get it. It's Ashley's to lose.
I'm not familiar with Brianna Sergeant. Can someone fill me in on her?
I believe she's a Vermont-based fighter, if I'm not mistaken.
Fighting Donnybrook in Donnybrook area, kind of.
Donnybrook and maybe even the formal Randy
Okay.
promotion out there.
Do we still keep them records active? Like they,
Yeah, they're fights.
All right.
I don't know. I mean,
yeah, we got.
And then it goes to Aaron Johnson at 3, which could very well be won because they've actually gone outside of the region to find her opponents to try to test her skills. Obviously trains with Connor Matthews and is a prospect regardless of what her record says. That's why we have her here at 3, because she's being put through the ringer here at Cage Titans early in her amateur career, where she's fought some good athletic competition. This girl she just fought from Syndicate, Jay Perrin in her corner. It was a tough fight, very similar to her fight that she had previously with Anna Crutchfield. Both of those amateurs that she fought are high level amateurs. So the 1-2 record is kind of deceiving, because if these other girls had been fighting the type of competition that Aaron had, there's a very good chance that they would not have withstood as well as Aaron had. And Aaron's lost 2 decisions. She just needs to be a little bit more active, trust her striking a little bit more, and actually commit to her game. But that's what it's going to help her. She's fought tough competition. She's going to get that learn on the fly. She's a young girl that will eventually become pro, and that record will go away, and she'll be better for the test that she's faced in the Cage Titans cage for sure.
Excellent. Big round of applause for Erica Valentin, who had a phenomenal knockout at Reality Fighting, a crowd-roaring knockout, a very emotional night for her and her team, for her getting her first win. She has fought Ashley Barrett, the number 1 here.
Right.
Erica is not afraid to throw down. She's getting better and better every day. That woman is constantly in the gym and just improving. So I can't wait to see what's next for her. I know she's got a grappling match coming up, not too far away from here, but I'm sure she'll be getting in that MMA cage again and just taking off from that fabulous knockout. Good for her. She's a very good ambassador for the women's MMA in New England. So awesome for her.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think, so Ashley Barrett deserves to be up there. Brianna Sergeant actually is from Connecticut. She's fought for Ammo and Reality. She recently beat Erica Valentin back in March of this year and lost to Ashley Barrett at Reality. So I think we got those rankings right. But, Barrett, she's looked like a killer her 4 fights and only seems to be improving. Obviously, Aaron Johnson's got a lot of talent, and she's fought some stiff competition, so you're spot on with that, Travis. But it's a pretty thin division. We're not seeing as many amateur female fights as we did pre-COVID. Usually you could see at least, a couple on every card. Now we're seeing maybe 1 every 3 cards. So I'm not sure if women just didn't go back to the gym after COVID but it makes me question the direction that the women's divisions are heading in New England. Not so much the pros, but eventually when the pros retire out or move on, it's up to the amateurs to kind of fill those spots. And we just don't have a very deep division here in New England. I couldn't come up with any other fighters in the region that were female that were fighting here and who had at least a win. So it was kind of difficult, but
and then we also have to limit ourselves with how long these people have been laid off. There are other girls that have fought in the region that could be on here but have been laid off for so long that it just doesn't make sense to rank them in the active competition.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
I.e. Chelsea Tucker,
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's, but I think Ashley Barrett's the clear-cut number 1. I can't see anybody arguing that. She's legit.
Excellent. And like you said, a lot of it, and some of these women here, it's tough to get them fights because, like you said, Aaron Johnson, no one wants to fight her in the region because, that's why they're shipping people in. And, ship more people in, ship more of them in. And, if one of them gets a win, they're on our rankings. So, and then somebody's after their head in New England or whatever. But I'm seeing a lot of women training. And I think there's going to be a time when we're going to get a few of them at once. ready to do something. Not necessarily fighting all on the same card or all in the same month on different, different promotions. But I think in the next few months, 4 to 6 months, I think we're going to have more women sprouting out as far as making their amateur debuts. Because we see a ton of them in the Muay Thai reigns, and a ton of them girls fighting Muay Thai fights are doing jiu-jitsu also. So, there's a lot of them making waves with their hands. They're just not putting it together and, getting into the mixed martial arts. But I think that's going to change down the line because some of these girls here are looked up to by these other women, and they're training with these women on here. And, I think we're going to see some of them. And if we don't, we're going to have to push it and get it done. Start, supporting more of these whoever these women are out here on this list, and just showing more of them off, because we don't. There's not enough women on any of these highlights or anything like that. So we need more. We need more.
I also want to add that Amanda Ferreira, or Ferreira, however you say it, from KTA. She's got a fight coming up outside of the region, an amateur MMA fight, which would probably be her first, I think. She's fought Muay Thai competition in the past, trains with Walter Gotito Smith and Joey Gomez over there at KTA in Nashua. So she could possibly make an appearance. She gets a win under her belt in the MMA ranks and possibly come back here to New England. I think any influx of female talent into the region would be excellent. So if you got to go outside the region to find some competition and come back for more, do what you got to do. But I encourage as many women to get in the cage as possible because, again, these rankings are totally up for grabs. And if we can only rank 7, there's 3 spots for women who are training right now who are thinking, what would it be like to take an amateur fight?
Exactly. And like we've shown on some of these other rankings, you only need 1 win to make them in some of these divisions. So let's get your name in black and orange up here. With that said, yeah, and as far as Amanda's fight is Sunday. I do believe her fight is Sunday. So I want to get a word with her. I'm going to try to message her and, talk about that experience. I would imagine that team's going to be traveling. Oh, do you know where they're fighting? What state they're fighting in?
Isn't it Illinois?
So I don't know. I would imagine they're.
I want to say it's Illinois. I've seen so many things on my feed recently, and I just can't necessarily decipher the ones that I haven't seen within the last day or so.
Yeah, so I don't know if they're driving, flying. I would imagine if they're flying or driving, there's only going to be a two or three making the trip with her.
Yeah, you would think her in a couple corners.
Yeah, so all the power to her. I'll try to get an interview with her about the experience coming up. But
yeah,
guys,
definitely book her. She talked to me at Combat FC and said she wanted to talk.
Yeah, you know what? I was supposed to talk to her before that, and we were I think a week and a half out from her fight to talk about her last fight. She was supposed to have an MMA fight out of state, and the girl pulled out on her there. So I think I've been kind of waiting till last minute because you know how these fucking fights go. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I'll definitely get a word with her. So with that said, guys, I think we stayed with our limit here. Went about an hour and 5 minutes. Now counting the time that we let tick away, like 4 minutes in the beginning. So perfect timing, guys. Anything you would like to recap, say before, we call it a night and come back tomorrow, same time to do the pro. One thing I want to say, if you got a problem with the rankings, anything you want to say, make comments about it. Make them on the feed that we shared the Facebook. Make them in person. We're going to be sending out these rankings. If you have a problem with, chatter. If you think you should be on them, if you think you should be higher, this is where we need your input, and that's when people listen. And you know what I mean. Go ahead.
Or you can skip the middleman. Skip the middleman and just call the promoter.
Yeah.
Let's get these fights going. You think you're better than the guy in front of you? Fucking let's see it. Let's go.
Go ahead, Lousy.
If you got a problem with the rankings, find Jarrett Kelly on Facebook and direct message him.
Yeah, that's the man.
Yeah. He's
Kelly.
Yeah, he's the guy to talk to. That yes.
He's taking all that information.
He's the one. He's the one that missed it. He's the one that had put Brett Casey on the bantamweight rankings. He fucked that up. So
Yeah.
So with that said,
it's all his fault. That's Jarrett Kelly.
Jay Kelly.
Shut up, Mom.
Well, that's tomorrow night. Don Shanis is in the house. Don Shanis is very, very interested in these rankings that are coming out tomorrow.
As he should be.
And Don Shanis, my boy, before we turn it off here, because maybe you can make a poster in a night, Lars, he's asking for, how about pound for pound men's pro rankings?
We could probably do that. I think we can pull that off.
We could probably do it off the top of our heads, for Christ's sake.
Well, that's it. Listen. That's what I said. Listen, that's what I said that we'll probably do tomorrow. That'll how we'll, we
can do that.
We'll vote. We'll vote on it live. We'll have people.
I'll tell you, he'll be probably top 2 on our list.
Don, add everyone onto your chat and tell them to tune in tomorrow, because we will have a vote at the end of the night on who the pound for pound. We'll give our pound for pound, and then we'll have a vote on Facebook or whatever here.
Yeah, we'll do it.
We'll do the pound for pound.
Caution to the wind. I've got a count.
Hey, Lars, why don't we just do that? Why don't we just send out one pound for pound best fucking, fight? Let everyone vote on it or something. You know what I mean?
Send out a pound for pound, go pound sand. No, but will Don Shanis be ranked number 1 in 2 weight divisions? Will Billy Goff be ranked number 1 in 2 weight divisions? I don't know. I haven't even looked at the rankings.
Tune in.
We'll find out tomorrow.
Suspense.
You better look at them. Tune in tomorrow, 8 p.m., where we start with the heavyweights and work our way down. So 8 p.m. tomorrow, YouTube, same bat time, same bat channel. Guys, anything you want to say before we get going here? And don't hang up on me. So go ahead.
Travis is a good kitty.
I slept
Good freaking kitty right there.
I slept with that kitty.
No, I'm good, man. Tune in tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. I think the pro rankings are definitely more intriguing and will probably turn some more heads, more so than the amateur rankings. But
AKA piss some people off, but that's what we're here to do. We're not here to make friends.
Exactly, man. And there will be reasoning behind these rankings, and we'll be explaining them as we're dropping them. So with that said, guys, like I said, don't take off. I'm just gonna get the hell out of here and tune in tomorrow. With that said,
if you got a problem with the rankings, slide into Jared Kelly's DM.
Yes, subscribe and share New England
That's
MMA.
Jarrett with 1 T.
Yes. Yes.
Kelly with 1 E.
Yes. Yes. With
Jarrett
that said,
Kelly.
we fucking
on all platforms.
out of here.